Recorded.
Why don't we go ahead and get started? Okay. Everyone, welcome to the Sage DacEasy Graphic Designer class. My name is Debbie Champagne. I'm the product specialist for DacEasy. If you want to, you can go ahead and mute your line on your phone, selecting *6. That kind of keeps out the background noise for everyone else. And then to unmute, if you want to make a comment or ask a question, just hit *6 again. There should be a full screen option in the lower left, and if you see your screen suddenly go black, it could be because of your screensaver, so just move your mouse or log back in your computer. So the agenda for today, we're going to review those forms that are editable in DacEasy, where we edit the forms from, the graphics designer toolbar. We'll go over some common edit requests that we receive here in support. It's pretty informal. We do have just an hour, but don't hesitate throughout to go ahead and hit *6 and ask your question or give a comment. Then we'll touch upon our next Text Tuesday, when that is, and how to reach us. Okay, so I'm going to go back and forth from the slides to the product for demonstration purposes. So the forms that we allow editing in DacEasy using the graphics form designer are your purchase orders, your merchandise received forms, purchase returns, and the purchasing checking list. That all covers purchasing. In the invoicing, we allow editing of quotes, invoices, sales returns, the billing packing list, statements, the assembly bill of materials, the cash receipt form, and checks. So to actually access this area, you would go to Edit Defaults and Form Setup, and this screen comes up. The form that you want to edit that you can choose from is on this line called Form. Right now it's showing invoices, and you would select the Edit button. And what that does is bring up the actual graphics designer editing form for that particular template that you've chosen to edit. Everything, it's just a bunch of variables on the grid. The top being, your company address, followed by your phone number, and then we jump down to the customer and shipping. And then in the middle is the detail, the items ordered, shipped, the price, etc. And then at the bottom would be like your subtotal and footer information. And all of this is editable on this form. So why don't we take a moment and go over the graphics editor toolbar. And that's at the top of the screen when you go to edit the actual each and every form, right here at the top. So here the first one is the Save button, and each one of these commands does have a hotkey, and we've listed it here for you, so you could use the keyboard. Otherwise, you just click the icon, and it'll perform the action that you select. You can print the template, you can cut, you can copy, paste objects. So most of these are your normal Windows functions. There's an undo command, there's a redo command, there's a delete object, duplicate function. We can draw rectangles, draw ellipses. Probably the most usable function command in this area will be this Control F function. It's a little white looking icon, and this is actually pulling up the catalogs for you to choose the variables from, and we'll get further into that when we show you how to do that. You can insert labels by, you don't really necessarily type on the form, but when you click this label, you can write what you want to display on the form. You can draw lines, insert images, enlarge the forms by a row. So again, these are pretty common Windows features that we're used to using in Word and other formats such as that. Any questions so far? Any comments? If you do, just hit *6 and it'll unmute you. So let's touch upon some of the common edits. People like to edit the top, generally the top of the form. That's your company heading. And that comes, it actually is pulling directly from the Edit Defaults Company Information screen, where your name is listed, your address, email, country, phone, and fax, and that all comes from this area. So rather, in this particular instance, you would come here if the information being populated isn't correct in terms of the address or the name. You would come to this area for the company to make that initial edit. Why don't we jump over to the program just to give us a moment to look at that. So there's the Edit Defaults Form Setup area. On the form line, these are all the templates we discussed that you can edit. If we go to Invoices, for example, we would then select Edit, and it brings up the form, graphics form editor. So here's at the top right here, we have company name, address 1, 2, 3, and again, that's all coming from Edit Defaults Company Information. And this, by having these individual variables, it's going to pull that information onto the printed invoice at that time. Now, a lot of people call in and they want to add an image, and there's an image icon at the top of the toolbar, and you browse to your logo or your image, and you can click or press enter on the template, and you drag it for placement. And what you can upload is a bitmap, a JPEG, and a GIF. These are the type of files that you can upload. Let's take a look at that. So our image logo is here. It looks like a photo, if you will. And you browse anywhere. Here's the browse button to where your image is stored. We would give it a name. And I would browse to it. In this case, I have it under DacEasy. Now there's quite a few options on this properties box, whether you want to show a border, or you can define the thickness of the border, a color. So you got quite a few options on the logo properties box. And okay, I can put that right. So it's more when you're placing it, not just hitting enter. You actually got to drag it, because it's just going to put one little box there if you just do what I did the first 3 times. And again, you can size it, you can move it, you just click and drag on it. And again, if you right-click on it, you have your properties, which we just went over. Front and back, sometimes that's an option you want. So and now this image will print right on the invoice at print time. That's one of the more common requests, is adding an image to an invoice. That way you have a little more control over what's being out. Another common edit is justification. Do we have a question? And that would be the placement of if things are centered, left justified, right justified, or no justification at all. And that's done. You have the ability to justify the header, the company, the detail, the footer information, and let's go ahead and show how to do that now. So let's say I wanted to center my company name and address at the top. Go to our Control F field, which is the field the more common to access the actual variables. And we would go to company. Now, again, we have all these options which you'll become accustomed to grabbing. But in this case, when we're talking about the company information that we want to center, we're going to select company. You want to expand this box to the right so that you can see the justification field. Field name, which is the actual variable, the description of what you're dealing with, the display, which is the number of characters of that particular variable, and the justification column. So right now, my company name on my template, address, it is all set to be centered right now at print time. If I wanted to change that and make it left justified, you just highlight the actual variable you want left justified, and you select justify over here. And it set it to right, so I click justify again. It puts it to no justification, and then a third time puts it on left justification. And I would do the same for each variable. Unfortunately, you got to keep arrowing up until you get the exact left. All my and the phone is still set to centered. Close, and now at print time, it'll put everything to the left. And again, that's justification. You click on your field command, and that's control in each of the variables. Just expand your box, and you'll see the justification column. And a lot of times, folks just want to move the variables that are there, rearrange them, if you will, and it's pretty simple to do. So let's say I didn't like where the date was being displayed. You just simply click on it and drag it, just like you would. Sometimes if you double click on it, it will bring up the properties box. You just close that. So again, click and drag. If you want to do multiple, if you hold down the control key, let's say we want to move a bunch of stuff at the same time. Let's say I want to shorten my the detail area. I've got a 7-inch invoice, if you will. If you hold down your control key, just click each of click the delete on the keyboard, and just keep going until all of the fields are removed. Because in this case, I want to move my subtotal up, for example. I have to remove all of these middle fields of the detail. Pretty quick process once you get going. Let's say with these, I want to move all of this stuff up. I control and click on them, and then I just simply move them. Drag them up. Going back to our slides. You can also do shading, add boxes and lines. Do we have a question? The mute 6, or star 6, sorry. We'll show some examples of how to go about, let's say, this invoice we can add some color to this area. If you double click on it or right click on it, we'll go to properties. And that's the title, so I want to fill it. I'm going to click on color, and we're going to choose blue. The text that's going to be showing. If I hit OK, you can see how it'll fill that in. And these are, if you want to add a box like they have here. In this case, it's already here. So if I go to properties, you can see that they have the fill object was selected. The color is here. So that's how they got the shading. If we want to add a line, select your rectangle and box. Again, these names, you can, doesn't matter what it is. I'm going to select show border, and let's change the thickness to 2. When I hit OK, let's drag it right over here and move to the back. Nice box that's shaded with an outline. Any questions so far?
I want to ask a question.
Sure.
Yeah, you see on the body of the invoice there are several columns, and how you make the line, the vertical line?
To add the vertical line?
Yes, right.
Okay, we would select the up here is the the line feature here.
Well, okay.
And when you click on it, you can just you just draw. So we could every time you want to do something, it doesn't pop up like a box like the others. You click on it, and then you just draw it.
Right. Okay, that's
that's how these were drawn here too.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have another question?
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Is there a preview function where you can see what it's really going to look like other than with all the dots and everything
the grid
in it?
And there's not.
There isn't?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and each time, let me recommend, like we've made a lot of changes. Each time you're satisfied with something you've added, you probably just want to hit the save button up here. And that'll save that last command, if you will. If you don't, and we go to escape, you can also say, no, I don't want to save anything, and you can cancel that save. But yeah, you do have to exit out, save your changes, and go print an invoice.
Okay.
The print button here. Go ahead.
Is there a way to restore something back to the original look, even if you've saved it? Like say I did what you did here, and I decided that was just totally wrong, and I wanted to go back and start all over. Is there some kind of a restore that will take it back to the original?
Probably before you even started that, and that's a great question, so I'm going to say no to this. When you're on the form setup and say you're ready to, you want to start, start some edits, and you don't want to touch the original. So when you're at the form setup and you select the form you have, we go to the names button here. It's going to list a current template for each of your forms that you can edit. Okay. Let's say, so we want to make a copy of it before we touch it. Okay.
Okay.
So we would select Options, Copy Format.
Aha. Okay.
And this brings up the Copy Format box. And what you'll do is go down to the destination. You'll just hit Enter down to, no, actually, a while since I've done this. Okay. What I'll do, let me write this down, because how to change the, and I have everybody's email on the list that's joined. I'll get the right steps on that. So copy format, that's what we want to talk about. And this process, there is a way to do it, I'm just missing a step, does allow you, before editing, that you're going to make a copy of it before you touch it. And let's say I was successful at renaming it, and I saved it. On this names field, you would just simply hit F5 and find the form that you renamed at the bottom of the list. And then you can start editing it. And then if you wanted to go back, again, you just come here and find the original, which was good question.
Could you email the answer to me as well?
Yeah, I'll email everybody on my list.
Everybody, okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So we did the shading. Can you think of any other questions? Again, this is kind of a high level, but it's probably, you know, in talking with the other support reps, these are the more common requests that we get in terms of how you want to edit and what needs to be done, whether it's justification, you know, I want to center something, or I want to left justify, adding boxes and lines, which we talked about, and just simply moving the fields around, not even necessarily changing out the variables, but just putting them in a different spot. Any other comments or questions or situations that we haven't discussed that you've been interested in doing?
I do have one more question. Is there a listing anywhere that shows the values or the different names, like you have CO underscore name and CO underscore address?
What they mean? Yeah.
I know when you click on when you
right, it's hard to
click on
know.
the drop-down box, there's more than one. Is there something that shows where those are?
A list? There isn't. It's just the most you're going to get is the description area. We used to have, but because this changes so often, you know, we're adding new variables to be able to it's not documented. You just have to consider when you're looking at the form, you know, where is this information coming from? And you go back to the source, if you will, like description under here. We know that's probably a product description or an item. We can go back to the product to know where that came from. But yeah, looking at the variables, I agree, it's hard to determine what exactly is being, I mean, some of it's self-explanatory, obviously, like this one, back-ordered. NSR, some people might not know that that's measure, but in this situation up here, we do have the description. But yeah, there's no documentation stating what each of these variables are without hitting F5 and getting the description right here. But that's about it.
Okay,
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Can you change the length of the description field? Can I make it longer?
This one here?
Yeah. Is it pretty just a standard form and I can't really change how long that is, like so I can have more characters in the line?
I would say the standard description is 40. The only way you could change it is actually by reducing it or adding to these dots. Like if you double click on any variable, it brings this up. You can see how it's followed by these periods.
Mm-hmm.
And you just click on it, and you can't go more than 40, okay? But if you need to go a little bit more on a description, you would just add here by adding more dots or reducing it if you wanted to.
Okay.
And double click on the field, it brings up the properties of any box.
How did you get the variables again? I missed that.
The box up here, it's just a Control F, okay? And that.
Oh, okay, okay.
And I can email each of you the slides here.
I was going to ask if that was possible.
Yeah, no problem. When we touched upon the toolbar, it gives us a description here, but this little white box is Control F.
That's right, okay.
Database. Yep.
Oh, that would be really helpful.
Hello.
Could you show us how you have the one line that's dark with the white lettering? Could you just show
how
us?
to do this? The fill, we want to fill it. We would select black, hit OK. Go to font, and the color of the font down here at the bottom, we would choose white. You're welcome. Is everybody ready to go and edit all their forms now?
As soon as you send the emails.
Okay. Any more questions? I wanted to go over what we're going to do the next.
One
Okay.
quick question.
Okay, go ahead.
and I'm not sure if this will even pertain to this, but can you make it so that it shows a credit on an invoice?
A credit on an invoice. What do you mean?
You know, on an invoice, let's say we billed somebody $1,000 and we owe them a $250 credit. Is there a way to do a line item without having to go through that percentage discount thing and show a credit?
No.
So a separate line item?
Yeah, there's no, no. There's not a way to edit the form.
You have to just do a sales return and attach it to the invoice.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. That's all I had. Okay.
Great.
The form that you were showing us, is that the standard form that comes with the software?
I'm using the sample. I think the standard is probably, let's take a look if we go back to our names.
Well, maybe I should ask my real question. I'm afraid my predecessor maybe has messed up the original, and I might want a copy of the original. Can I get that?
You can. All of your templates are held in your data directory. If you knew what the original was, you know, if it's still out there untouched.
Yeah, I'm afraid.
Untouched. You can. I mean, if you had a backup, let's say, we could restore a backup into a dummy company, and let's say the name of it was Invoice. You know, we could take from the dummy company the file called invoice.fmt from the dummy, or the restored backup, and copy that invoice.fmt into your current data. That's possible, and it would just overlay the one that you wanted. And support can help you do that if you determine that you have a form that's untouched, or you want to go back to the way it was. If you have an older backup, we can walk you through those steps.
Okay.
So our next Text Tuesday is May 15th. Same time, we're going to touch on the DAC access area, building some queries and pulling some simple queries into the publisher for a little bit of formalizing it. Is there anybody who has any thoughts on a future Tech Tuesday they would be interested in seeing?
Is there an email address where we could email ideas if they come?
Yeah, we have a product enhancement address, which is, let me see. That way you can go ahead and email to that product enhancement and just put maybe in the subject, you know, future Tech Tuesday requests.
Okay.
And then that comes to me anyway. But we're always looking for ideas. I mean, so far we've done some reporting basics. We did credit card setup. We had a year-end review in October. In December we did a business center overview. And then again in May we'll have the DAC access query. I don't know if any of you use that area, but I know a lot of people, we get a lot of requests that they don't know how to use it. And we just
I'm interested in that.
Okay, very good, very good.
Debbie, I believe that email address is productenhancements.DacEasy@sage.com.
Perfect, that's it. Product enhancements with an S?
Yes.
Period. DacEasy.
DacEasy?
DacEasy
At
@sage.com.
sage.com. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Carrie.
You're welcome.
And if another way of contacting us, we want people to know, especially those on the Tech Tuesdays, you have business care, that we are reachable also through we have a new method of reaching support through chat, live chat support. And that's accessible through the portal, the Sage customer portal. If everybody's already registered, when you log on, you just go to the top of the toolbar. It says select cases and submit a case, and then you'll have the ability to click chat with a live support person, and that can be, especially during year end and times when we're pretty busy, a quick way to reach us. And also call us at 800-883-3947, or also the portal allows you to submit email tickets that get answered within 8 business hours. So I want to make sure everybody knows all the ways to get in touch with us.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Do we have any other comments or questions? So I guess we'll see you in May for the DAC access.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, have a great one.
Thank you very
Take
much.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.